Hello there everyone and welcome to a new review on the channel, and today we're going to be looking at an interesting product that came around a month ago and that I've had for quite a bit some time, but I've not really had the time to film reviews for you or to actually practice it to the fullest. But it's also a product that I was a really big fan of on paper, but once I really got it, even though I had some ideas of how it worked, I was left a bit kind of disappointed, but that is also my fault because this does require a ton of practice, a ton of practice if you want to get it as good as the trailer. So we're going to dissect everything for you right after the intro. Perfect, so you decided to stick around, which means you want to learn more about Stitch. So what is Stitch? If you've been in the magic world for the past month or so, it was very well marketed. It is the effect where you take your finger, you pull it out, and you put it back. I'll have a small performance of it up on the screen so you can kind of see a virtual performance of this. And yeah, so while you watch that, I'm also going to unpack where you buy this, how much does it cost, and what you get. So you can buy this pretty much anywhere. It is distributed through Murphy's Magic. What you are paying for this is 45 USD, which is around 65, 70 Canadian dollars. And what you get is this box. Inside of this box, you're going to get multiple things. Let me show you. I won't show you everything, but I can show you some of the stuff. So you are going to be getting some of this. So these are your blades. You're going to be getting some tubes, some magnetic tubes such as these ones. And you're also going to be getting smaller magnetic tubes that you're going to be able to use if your hands are smaller, as well as your main gimmick, okay? So that is what you're going to be getting with your Stitch. So some magnetic tubes, both big size and small size, depending for your finger, your two blades, and your gimmick, okay? So now that you've seen kind of what it looks like and you know what you're getting, as well, you're going to get around a 2-hour video instruction with Javier, unpacking everything. There's going to be some performances for you, live performances, and a brilliant tutorial. So you're going to get that as well with your purchase, before I forget. Because I do want to talk now about kind of the aspect that I think is a bit needed, and that is difficulty. Because even on the box here, it says skill level beginner. It was marketed as a beginner effect. It was marketed as being super easy. Maybe I'm just a horrible magician, but this is very hard, okay? This requires a lot of practice. This requires a lot of routining, because some of the tubes, you need to know the orientation of the tube. You need to learn those orientations. You need to learn the angles. You need to learn the movements. You need to learn the pacing. You need to learn the misdirection. You need to learn how to take it off, how to put it on, how to handle the blades, how to hold the blades, how to hold your fingers, how to position your fingers, how to position your hand, your body, all of that. There's so much that you have to learn in order to perform this effect. So this will require some time. Once you put in that time, it will be a beginner effect. But it's not something you just tick off the box and you're able to do in 5 minutes. Maybe in a week, if you practice an hour a day, you'll do it as good as Javier. And that is in my opinion, because I don't do a lot of, finger stuff, and I don't do, the on-off by Nicholas Lawrence and all of that. I don't do those effects. So this is kind of new to my realm. So if you're like me, that may apply to you. This is not as easy as you may think. And even the kind of easy version that is non-inspectable is still kind of needed of you to learn some of that routining, some of that position, some of that movement, some of those slides, etc. And this also needs, a lot of palming. You're going to need to palm a lot. So if you have, you're going to need to be palming constantly. You're going to need to switch things in and out. So there's a lot going on here, which will require a lot of your time and effort in order to master. Is the effect worth that mastery? If you get it as good as Javier, yes. If you're a bit on the edge, probably not. For me, I had higher hopes, And when I saw the amount of time I need to perform this small effect, I decided it's just not worth for me to put my time, my limited time, especially in October that I had to fully learn this. Maybe that will change. If it does, I'll put it in the comments. But to me, it wasn't worth it for the effect that this gives to put in the amount of time in order to perform it. And I know some of you are probably going to critique me, the people that love this effect, but that's just my opinion. And maybe it just came out at a wrong time for me, where I was overbooked with things and I didn't have time to give it the love it deserves. But it is something that is definitely not beginner level, and I don't think that is wrong to say in any way, shape, or form. Now let's talk about practicality. So in order to perform this effect, you're going to need to carry around your two blades and your numerous tubes and your gimmick. So this is not, if you want to carry this, it will fill up a pocket pretty easily. So this is not just something that you have something in your pocket and you're good to go. You'll have to carry around quite a few things, and you're also going to have, before performing, you're going to have to know their orientation and everything like that in order to start performing it. So practicality wise, in terms of carrying capacity, you do have to carry around quite a bit with you. In terms of angles, the angles are also very disputed. The angles are, I would say, 180 to 280. If you're doing this on socials, of course, it's 360. But in real life, 180 to 280, the routine where you do it on the table has probably the best angles. Those could be possibly 360, but for most routines that you're doing for spectators hands-on, it will always be a 180 or a 280 based on their eyesight. So yes, you could show the spectator here something, but then if you want to show a spectator here something, you'll not be able to kind of do your finger stuff with the spectator there because he will see everything. So you will have to work on that and learn that. So it's better for everyone to be in front of you and to just limit it to a 180 when you're doing the moves. And that's going to be much better for you as well. Okay. In terms of inspectability, yes, it is inspectable before and after, but that will make you have to learn more, have to practice more, have to ditch, palm, do a lot more routining in order for you to completely have it examined before and after. In terms of table, you do not need a table, but there are some table routines explained for you in the download if you so wish. So now that we know that, let's talk about where do you perform. So where would you perform Stitch? Stitch would work well on a stage setting. It would work brilliantly in a virtual show or for your socials. It's going to work incredibly well for that as well. And it's going to work for live. But for live, you're going to have to keep around your angles and stuff like that, but it can work for table hopping, etc., if you do not mind other tables seeing how the effect is done, for example, okay? That is something for you to keep in mind, that if you're doing this table hopping from table to table, some tables that may peek at what you're doing could see the method while you're entertaining the table there. That's something for you to keep in mind, but it can be done in a lot of scenarios, pretty much anywhere that the angles allow. Okay, so now that we know all of this, let's talk about the positives and negatives of Stitch. One of the negatives is the learning curve, is that I won't complain almost any time about something being hard to learn. Some of the effects are hard to learn, but they will pay off. But the thing is, they're marketed as hard effects. Everyone that purchases Unshuffled, for example, right, the classic effect where you need to learn and know how to perfectly Pharaoh and in Pharaoh decks of cards every single time, you get a disclaimer telling you that it is hard. This is marketed as a beginner's open the package, do the trick, which is definitely not the case. So that's why I'm saying it as a negative, because this is not a beginner's trick. This will require time, effort, and even Javier tells you that you need to practice this a lot in order to understand it. So how is this beginner? That's one negative for me. The second negative is the angles. You will have to work a lot with the angles, and that comes through the practice. And the last negative is that if you want this to be fully inspectable, you will have to carry around extra stuff with you, and you will also have to palm a lot and have things constantly in your hands, which also limit your angles and your kind of the way, your cleanliness of performing, okay? In terms of the positives, the visual is very good. I must admit, the visual is very good. It's very nice. It looks so nice when you take your finger, you pull it off, and then you pull the tube off. It looks brilliant. It looks nice. It looks like what it's supposed to. The product that you're getting is well made. So the tubes are well made, the blades are well made, the gimmicks are well made, everything is well made. The tutorial is also very, very good. And there is a ton of things explained as well. As I said, he explains to you how to do it on the table so it can be even more visual and can be seen 360. So there are ways that this can be kind of, moduled and performed and can have amazing reactions, because I do think it's a fun effect. But it may not be for everyone, and unfortunately, it may not be for me. Because would I recommend Stitch, and what do I give it out of 10? I think if you're someone that performs a lot of finger magic, like on off or ring magic, or things like Crazy Sam's ring where you take your fingers and you move them, this could be a brilliant intro, You could routine this beautifully. You could do something like Stitch, then say, but look, you can also do it like this with one finger, and then you proceed to do Crazy Man's finger. You can have a 5-minute routine of finger magic that will blow your audiences away, right? That builds upon each other. So if you're into finger magic or ring magic that uses manipulation of fingers, you will love this. If not, if you're a virtual performer, I think that you could get away with doing this with the simple version with not a lot of moves, because the camera is going to help you and the virtual aspect will help you. But if you're someone that doesn't really have time, or was on the fence with this, or doesn't really feel this is as impressive as it could be, I don't really recommend it, because I think that this will require a lot of time, effort, dexterity, and practice in order to get it down. And I don't think that for me, the visual and the effect is worth it for the amount of time it requires. I'd rather perfect my Pharaoh shuffle or my in Pharaoh rather than practicing the moves here. And again, that is just my opinion. This is not the general opinion. This is my opinion. Look at other reviews. Maybe this could be your product of the year, but maybe it's not for me. Or maybe your worst product of the year is mine, my favorite one, and vice versa. So don't take my word as the end all. Yes, I don't really like this, but don't take my word as the final verdict. Go explore out, because I do not recommend Stitch. I don't think it's something that works for me, and I'm giving it a 4 out of 10. It's not something that I'm going to be performing. Yes, the visual looks cool, but even then, I won't put in the time to perform this on my socials. I don't think so. Maybe I will in the future, so maybe that rating will go up. But for the moment, this is not something that I'm going to be performing, putting in my gigs. This is just going to be sitting on my shelf. And that's all I have to say about Stitch. If you enjoyed the review, or you have any questions, leave a comment, like, subscribe, contact me, and we can discuss things further. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next review. Have a good one, and